Today's video we're going to be covering a topic I found very fascinating, and that's martial arts and self-defense training. If you're not familiar with the channel, I recently just got released from prison, so I had the, I guess you'd call it, luxury of seeing a bunch of violent confrontations play out and exactly what goes down. And one of the biggest problems is, if you don't want to send your money to California, and you're going to if you download an app like Life360 because that's where it winds up, well, the sponsor of this channel actually has the answer to that. It's Got Your Six. Now, this is a Second Amendment friendly app. It's basically an alternative for Life360 that doesn't track you all the time. It doesn't send your money to California. And in an emergency, your friends can set up a rally point, or your family, and you're able to find them. And for example, like in Hurricane Katrina, it would have been really nice if a lot of those people would have been able to, like, I'm right here, press the button, and then they're able to get rescued. So that's the whole point of the sponsor of this channel, and I hope you guys show them some support because I have a very hard time getting sponsors considering my last sponsor went to federal prison. So show him some love so he continues to show me some love. Anyways, let's get on with the video. So before we talk about exactly like what my experience was and how I seen it play out, let's talk about what exactly martial arts does for you. And let's take a realistic look. Let's wipe away all the movie crap. What are we looking at here? Number one, the big one, is body awareness under stress. When you train and you practice martial arts and all that stuff, like, you're going to be very aware of your body, how you react under stress, and being able to keep cool underneath stress is very important. Maybe not for like fist fighting, I mean it is for fist fighting that, but I'm saying like it expands out farther than that. Being able to be cool under stress, period, is just a very valuable skill. And what puts you more... What's more stressful than being like, all right, this dude right here wants to beat me up and I'm going to beat him up. That's a very stressful situation. So it puts you in that circumstance that you wouldn't normally be able to go into unless you're in a chaotic environment. And when you take martial arts or self-defense classes, stuff like that, you're able to go into that environment under, it's a controlled environment. Yes, there's always risk. But your risk of like leaving that environment maimed or seriously injured, or not leaving that environment at all, is a lot lower because the whole thing is controlled. So that is something that you are going to gain from self-defense classes or martial arts treatment or martial arts training without a doubt. That is a very valuable skill. The next one is conditioning your body and pain tolerance. So learning martial arts, that's cardio. You are going to get in shape, and let's face it, you have to get in shape because the first one to lose the fight is the first one to run out of wind. That's how it plays out almost every single time. So conditioning, you're training, you're doing something. I mean, there's a lot of cardio classes you can take, but aerobics just isn't as cool and as guy friendly as, like, you know, hitting the heavy bag or the speed bag or something like that. That's a lot more like awesome, like America. Like, aerobics are cool and all. I'm not knocking on aerobics, but martial arts is cooler. Let's call it for what it is. Martial arts is a cooler way to get your cardio in. And you bring your pain tolerance up. You get smashed in the face a few times, well, you know, you start being able to deal with that a little bit better. What's the next thing? Confidence without a weapon. When somebody's like up in your face and that, and like it's looking bad, knowing in the back of your mind I can fold them up like a lawn chair. If I catch them by surprise, that's confidence building. And when you show the confidence, that disarms a lot of fights. I'll actually get into my story. So I was set up to get beat off the guard. Long story short, I didn't get along with the rep, and he set me up. He put this huge native in my cell, but I showed confidence. He started like kind of trying to figure out if I had martial arts training or something like that, and I was nonchalantly talking about, like, professionally on the street, what I do is a YouTube channel that talks about self-defense and that. Yeah, I'm not a pro in that, but he didn't know that. And that confidence, plus that little bit of backstory, was enough to where he cried off, and he wound up not doing what he was paid to do. So having confidence does disarm a lot of people. And knowing in the back of your head, like, I can fold you up if this comes down to it, is very confident and inspiring. And like I said, it's disarming. It brings the tension down. Understanding violence isn't pretty. So that's a big one. Knowing that if things pop off, because yeah, in your little dojo and your ring and that, like, you've seen, like, it just happens. It's fast, it's ugly, it's not pretty, it's not glamorized like in the movies or anything like that. dudes losing teeth, there's blood everywhere, possibly broken bones. Knowing that is a real good reality check. So when you do see violence play out, and I've seen violence play out, it doesn't catch you so much by surprise. All right, so now let's circle this back around and bring it into what my experience was. So first off, in county jail, now I pulled up the number for violence, like what an inmate's going to go through, and across all of them it's between 7 and 20% that's reported. I can assure you it's a lot more than that. But 16% is the average in county jail. That's almost 1 in 4 people that go into county jail is going to experience violence. And the thing with county jail is it's not segregated. Like when you get to your federal prisons, they're segregated by low, medium, and then your pens. Obviously, there's ADXs and camps, but we're not going to really talk about that. In county jail, you're going to see street beefs play out. Now, I was way on the other side of the country, so besides my co-defendant, I didn't know anyone in there. So that wasn't a thing for me, really. But there would be people who were like, dude banged his wife, or slapped his kid in public or something like that. And that beef grows, and well, now they're in county jail. They're locked in a small space. It plays out, and it's pretty violent. Plus, there's pen guys in the county jails. Like I said, it's not segregated. So you might have a cellie that's doing an overnight for drunk driving, or you might have a cellie that's going to the pen. He might be facing PBLs, punishable by life. I had both. Like, it's really like that. And the violence it's incredible. Like, the general consensus is what you do in county doesn't affect you when you get to federal prison. It does, but not like you would think, right? Like, they basically have to press street charges on you. And they're not going to do that. What's going to happen is there's going to be a fight. You're going to go to the SHU. And when you get to federal prison, all that's swept underneath the rug. It's like you were perfectly fine in county. So people get down in county jail. The one I seen, this guy spit in his girl's face on the street, and it was brutal. I asked why. I'm like, why is that so brutal? Like, I get like you want to mess him up in that, but he just kept going. Dude's on the ground, like in the fetal position. He's just like thud, thud, thud. It was like there was blood everywhere. We had to take a dustpan and scoop it off of the floor and throw it in the toilet. The entire cell was covered in blood. There's blood splatter on the walls. It was bad. That was one of the worst beatings I've ever seen. Even in federal, that was worse. And I'm like, why is it so violent like that? He's like, well, if I don't make it, so they know we can't be celled up together, or they put him somewhere else, or they put him in the SHU or something like that. If he comes back to this unit, you know what's going to happen? He's going to be healing, and he's going to be sharpening his shank, trying to figure out how to get back at me. And I got to watch my back the whole entire time. So when you get into a fight, you need to make it bad enough to where you guys will never be in the same area again. I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense, but like, did you really have to rip his ear off and smash a bunch of his teeth out? Like, I think that was kind of excessive, but, you know, who am I to judge? So that's what you're going to experience in county. Now, when you get to lows, what you're looking at here is you got FSA, you have the threat of being up custodied, and there's no self-defense. So in prison, there is no self-defense. There's assaults, and then there's fights. It's going to fall in one of the two categories. Did you lay there and take it, or did you fight back? If you fought back, now you both get fighting shots. The problem is, a fighting shot is a 100 series shot, and it doesn't take many at all. Like, I was down in single-digit points. Most people, they're around like 12, they're up around 10 or something like that. So one violent shot for them, they're going to a medium. I was down low enough where I could have 1 or 2. I think they said the max, because I asked about this. I'm like, how many fights could I actually get in before I go to medium? I believe he said 3. But again, I was at like 6 points for a custody level. Like, I'm in the basement. Like, you pretty much can't get lower than that because of my age, no criminal history, all of that. Most people, one fight, they're going to a medium. And you don't want to go to a medium. Nobody wants to get up custodied. People aren't like, yeah, I want to go to a medium or a pen when I get sentenced. No, they're like, oh, crap, I have to go to a pen or a medium, and how do I get lower? So anyways, because of FSA, if you get a 100 series shot, you lose that. If I would have got into a fight, I would have had to sit 85%. That's 4.5 years. My sentence would have basically doubled. Because I got 5 years, 85%. So 85% on 10, that's 8.5. So on 5, that's 4.25. That's how long I would have sat if I would have got into any fights at all. And then again, up custody, no self-defense, so you can't defend yourself. So basically in the lows, what you're going to see is everybody's just going to say they're a martial artist. Is everybody? No, definitely not. What actually wins, though, when it comes down to it, is size. Like, even the one in county, that dude was, like, it was a fact. He was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he did wrap that guy up, but the fact is he came off of the street, so he was tired, he ran out of wind. The dude literally grabs his arms like, boom, and just pulls his arm off of him because he had his legs wrapped around him. So the dude was on his back, he had him around the throat, he didn't quite get his arm underneath there, and he had him in like a full Nelson almost, kind of, and his legs wrapped around him. Dude just grabs his arm and pulls, and the guy's arm starts shaking, and then it starts coming off. Boom, pulls his arms off, spins around, takes him, boosh, boosh, slams him on the floor a couple of times, so his legs drops off, and that's when he just starts beating him, and that's when the cell got covered in blood. So, really what matters is size and cardio. It truly, truly does. That's what matters in prison. And we're gonna go through different custody levels to talk about this more. So now you get to mediums. Remember, the whole point of a fight is to get somebody off of the yard. For whatever reason, they disrespected you, they violated whatever car you're running in, something happened to where they need to be off the yard. The only way to get them off the yard is to have 2 or more attackers or have a weapon involved. Now, when you get to mediums, that's when that happens. Remember, at a low, people don't really care. So, I mean, if something gets really that bad, they usually go in a cell, piece each other up just a little bit to like, okay, you win. You know, not that big of a deal. Now, I did see people get beat down in a low. But generally speaking, it's usually just a couple of quick punches and then it's over with. A medium, now you're at a different story. Now they need you off the yard. Not just go to the shoe. They want you off the yard. So they're going to come at you with multiple attackers, or they're just going to straight up stab you with weapons. So the point is, it's not like that guy's my enemy. Like I owe, because usually it's with a different race. Like I owe this Mexican money. I don't have to watch out for him, because what he's going to do is he's going to talk to his rep. His rep is going to talk to my rep. My rep is going to be like, all right, we're going to handle it. We'll tell him he needs to pay up the money, and if he doesn't, we're going to beat him off the yard. So they tell me to pay all the money. I refuse, or I don't pay it when I'm supposed to. I'm not watching out for him. I'm watching out for my cellie. And the people in there, like, be using the toilet, and your cellie comes up behind you and grabs your arms, and then like 5 people flood into the cell and either start stabbing you or beating you down. That's how it's going to go down. It's not going to be, all right, put up your dukes. Come on, let's get this fight on. No, absolutely not. You are going to be outnumbered. There's going to be weapons involved. You are going to be probably med-flighted out of there. I mean, they might just beat you down enough to show that, hey, there's multiple attackers. Because remember, there's got to be multiple attackers. So they're going to do this publicly. So everyone sees it. So everyone knows, because you can't snitch, right? So in order for them to know that you're going to get beat off the yard, if they're not going to just straight up stab you up, they're going to do it like publicly where a camera's going to see it, and they're going to make it known that, hey, we beat this guy down. There's multiple people involved. He needs to get off the yard. And they'll basically use like deuce heads and that to carry it out. Anyway, now you go up to pens. Pens, this is where lifers are. Yeah, there's some lifers at mediums, but this is where things change. This is their house. This is where they live. It'd be like somebody coming in your house and disrespecting you that bad. Like, and not just disrespecting you that bad, it's disrespecting you and to the point you're an established violent criminal. You don't go to a pen, there are exceptions, but usually if you go to a pen, this isn't your first time going to prison, this isn't your second time going to prison, this is like your third or your fourth, and you have an established violent past. You are essentially a career criminal. So when you go to the pen, when you mess around, they may not be trying to beat you off the yard. They may be trying to kill you. Like some of the stories I heard, like one dude comes up behind another one, wraps guitar wire over his throat and starts strangling him while 3 guys were in the front just working him with shanks. Like that's the kind of stuff you see there. So what is the assessment of all this? Martial arts do absolutely nothing for you in prison. And that's where you think it would matter, because there is no weapons in prison. On the street, martial arts is like, all right, so if I know how to fight, but that chick, this 110-pound chick, pulls a 45 on me, she's obviously going to win. Guns level a playing field. You don't have to be super ripped. You don't have to be a martial artist. You just have to know how to use a firearm or use other weapons, and that levels the playing field. While in prison, I'm like, well, Now all these are gone. Now we'll get to see what martial arts really happens, because especially in the movies, they'd have somebody like, 5 inmates jump on him and they're all scattered around. He's like this. Oh, man. That's not how it goes down. Your fighting space is like from the edge of this board to the edge of this flag, and there's sharp, pointy stuff everywhere. Lockers and concrete, and the second you start moving, you are seriously getting injured. Like, you walk away from a fight, even if you won the fight, you're like, oh God, oh man, oh man. And what trumps the martial arts is just being in good shape. Like I said, the one dude was a black belt, and he got just completely messed up. He got the better of him, he did, but he didn't have the wind and the strength because he came from the street, and the other guy, he's been doing burpees and 1,000 push-ups every single day for the last 3 months while he's incarcerated. This guy just came from the street, he ran out of wind. So he just peels his arm off of him and rolls him over and just goes to town on him. Size is what makes the difference, not the martial arts. I'm serious about that. And when you get to these higher custodies where the fighting's legit, they'll know if you are a martial artist and they'll prepare for it. They ain't coming in there to have a fair fight. They're coming in there to get you off the yard. Even if you're not known as a martial artist, what are you going to do if a piece of piano wire comes over your throat and you're trying to stop yourself being strangled while people are going to work on your chest? There's not much to do. So that's what I wanted to bring up, because I just thought that was crazy fascinating. Like, in the one environment that should be heavily stacked for martial artists to win and be successful, they're actually at a huge disadvantage, because as soon as people know that you're legit a martial artist, they're not coming at you with 2 people, they're coming at you with 5 people, with locks and socks and shanks and stuff like that. Violence is fast, or fights are fast, violent, multiple attackers, weapons involved. There is no one-on-one dojo, we're sparring here. That is not what the fights look like at all. And it's just the reality of it. So, since we've talked about all that, what is the biggest way to not get in fights in prison? 1, stay away from the 3 G's in drugs. Gangs, gambling, and gays. Those are the 3 things that will guarantee you're getting into a fight, even at a low security. And I mean that. You start gambling, at some point you're going to lose. And unless you have infinite money, you're going to owe somebody money, and that's a problem. You start messing around with the gangs, they're going to tell you, hey, you need to go fight this person. And you have to. You start messing around with the gays, they take that serious. I've seen dudes get married in prison. Not on paper, but like they jumped over the broom in the rec yard and they had a bunch of stuff out there. Like, it's very serious. It'd be like somebody messing with your wife. Don't do it. And then the drugs, obviously, because they rack up debt. They act stupid. Those are the ways to get yourself in trouble in prison. The next best way is get big. Start working out. It's a lot harder to decide that I want to start a fight with this guy who weighs twice as much as me and he's just jacked like, boom! Like, no, you don't fight with him. If you have to, you do it. But you're going to come in there with multiple people. Like, you're not going to run your mouth and you're going to give that guy a whole bunch more leeway and leverage versus a guy that's out of shape and he does something stupid. You're going to be like, dude, and you're going to start a problem. And if that guy's jacking that, you're going to be like, hey man, please don't do that again. No, don't disrespect, but please don't do that again. There's a huge difference between how you act with somebody that's out of shape and how you act against the monster. You know what I mean? So anyways, that was my fascinating observations of what martial arts actually do for you in prison. Leave your comments below what your experience is. Anyways, if you guys would like to help support the channel, the best way to do it is shopping at Only Tactical Fans at Shopify.com, where you can purchase cool merchandise. The MRAs should be back on there, hopefully by the time this video drops. It had some crazy shipping problems. We got it all sorted out now, so that should be on there. Or if you don't want to do that, just clicking on that Amazon affiliate link and doing the Amazon shopping you're already going to do anyway, a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.